We're live on Facebook. We're just waiting on YouTube. Oh, there it goes. All right, so we are live on Facebook and YouTube. We got a new friend in the house, at least for me, Lori Peterson. A lot of you know her, evidently. She's going to be joining us. So let me just turn on the intro. And here we go with the tech issues. Anyway, let me just take a moment to say thank you all for your continued love and support and contributions that allow us to keep doing this every day and providing this free community service. Something that we're going to keep doing. Okay. So I guess we're going to skip the intro. All right. So since we'll just do that. We'll just bring Lori up now. Welcome everybody from Facebook and YouTube. Okay. ¿Qué pasa, hermana?
Hi, so good to see you.
Oh, we're going to get along fine. I can already tell.
This is hilarious, the tech stuff, because I messaged you. Is at 3 o'clock my time or 2 o'clock? And it's only 2 o'clock right now. So I'm glad
Where are you?
I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada. It's great north of you.
So are you Central Time or Mountain Time?
It's CST. So I don't know. We're only 2 o'clock, just after 2 o'clock now.
Oh, that's it. So your Central Time zone must not be lined up with ours. Because the Central Time Zone is 1 hour behind the East Coast. So
okay, because this is CST, not CMT. I don't know.
I don't know one. I don't know one from the other.
We're here. That's all that matters.
Oh, that is all. And I was going to tell you I could wait. I don't have another show for 3 hours.
Oh, well, perfect. Well,
so it doesn't. We can always go over. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've not had too many shows where I put up a post that morning because I usually do it the night before, but I got like 5 messages. Oh my God, I'm glad you're having Lori on.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. I'm excited to hear your story because I can feel your energy. I know a lot of people that know you. Are you a practitioner? Are you an energy practitioner? I mean, do you work?
I am. I own a little wellness center in the little community I'm in. I have about 1,200 people in this little tiny town in the middle of the prairies in Canada. So,
Saskatchewan.
Sasquatchville, yes.
We'll call it Sass. Yeah, that's way up north, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm actually only an hour from the U.S. border. Or no, I'm about 3 hours from Minot, North Dakota. Like I'm straight north of North Dakota. Yeah,
why not North Dakota? That's an out of the way place. There's no doubt about that.
It's on the way to me from you.
Yeah, it's like I think that might be a holy area. To be honest with you,
Well, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. There's a little bit of a drag, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was shown. I've been shown many times that there's nothing random about why I'm here and the purpose of the location geographically.
Yeah, that's a very sacred area. I mean, from the U.S. side to your side. I have a friend that owns a ranch up in Saskatchewan. Why can't I say that word?
Saskatchewan.
You got to be Canadian. Yeah. But and the sunsets there are just incredible. It's like you're almost at the Aurora Borealis or something because the colors over there, and there's a lot of colors and pictures of the horizon and sunset like in 2019, 2020 that are really showing the different energies that are coming to the earth. But I've seen pictures when I came online like 2013, 2012 from a friend that I met up there. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you're not from there. You're over there holding down that particular sector of the grid, I guess.
I am from here. I grew up in this area.
Oh, Gotcha.
I moved away, I traveled, and then I came back. I relocated back into this area about 9 years ago. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm just like vibrating because I feel so excited about this. So this interview and I was going to say Saskatchewan is their tagline on our license plate is the land of the living skies, and that's
Okay.
why. I mean, it's completely flat here for the most part, so you can see the horizon for miles, and the sky is just big and expansive. And
Oh,
if you follow my page at all, or my I post a million pictures of the sunsets because I can walk down to the end of my road and it's just a field there because I live in a small community, so I'm only 2 blocks away from the countryside. And so
wow.
I go down there almost every night and just watch the sunset because I just feel so blessed with that glorious view. And it just it's a way to reset my day and review my day and also release it. And I just feel so in awe. And I'm like, why is not the whole town lined up watching this with me? Because it's just like this beautiful show, this beautiful view. And I feel like, yeah.
Isn't that strange? Isn't that strange though? We're in South Florida. A beloved sister gifted us, or well, we paid some, but I mean, offered us an opportunity to hook up the RV to her house and broadcast with a great internet for the last 2.5, 3 months. Anyway, the first day I got here, I walked down to the beach because Morgan had flown to Kansas City to see a friend of ours. And so I came in, I walked down to the beach, and this portal, it was a beautiful sun, probably at about, 4 o'clock high. And then this portal exploded to the right of it. And I'm looking at it, watching all these Saskatchewan type colors come out. And I'm like, wow. And I'm looking around everybody going, why aren't y'all watching this? So I wonder if you're seeing something different in the sky than everybody else is over there.
Yeah, I don't know. The colors just seem so vibrant and miraculous, and of course, I just yeah, I do. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's just for me to see. I don't know.
Hmm. So you left Saskatchewan for a while, but I mean, were you always awake?
I think. Well, I think I was younger. I was pretty aware that the ability to love and heal in that way. I grew up on a farm, so with animals, and I'm not saying I'm deeply animal connected, but as a little girl, I knew that there was this unconditional love frequency that could heal things. And so I was aware of that young, but then of course life happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I kind of didn't tune into any of my gifts or anything, and I always sort of knew something was there, but I was scared of it. I think it's a really similar story to most people.
Yeah,
And
you were
then
crazy. You
yeah,
went
I was
you went to the psych ward, or were
I got
threatened to go to the psych
crazier. I
ward.
got even crazier.
Well, I did
uh,
that too.
yeah. So
Sweet.
15 years ago, I was traveling. I lived in South Korea for almost 2 years, and I didn't
Wow.
know anybody else. I was just traveling around, meeting people, and having fun, kind of thing. I was, in my early mid 20s, and I just, I was there for a good time, kind of thing, mostly. But I was, traveling, working a little bit, and whatever. But so what happened, because I didn't know anybody, I've always been an avid journalist. I was just journaling all the time. And it helped me like really look at all the things that were still kind of bothering me over the last, 20 years of my life at that point or whatever. So I was able to kind of dive into a lot of that stuff. And I always feel like it kind of cleared the slate, brought me into balance. And so then I was meditating a lot, and I was shown then that I'm going to be guiding people to enlightenment. And at that time, because my views around spirituality, I was still questioning everything. I didn't know what my
You were
beliefs were.
you were still a heathen.
I didn't, yeah, maybe a lot at that time. And so I didn't know. I was kind of like, okay. And I didn't have anybody really in my life that I didn't even know that I was necessarily meditating. I was just going into a park, getting into this calm state in my, my energy body, but I didn't know a lot about it. And I didn't have the teachers and stuff at that time. I was like, okay, like, what does that mean? I'm going to be leading people to enlightenment. I'm going to start telling people this. They're just going to think I'm crazy and lock me up because, you know, what do I know about enlightenment? And so, I mean, I see it very clearly. I was kind of shown what I'm going to be creating now. And I see, so then I came back and I met my ex-husband, and we had got married, had kids, you know, life, job, everything. And yeah, so I had a reawakening about 5 years ago. In 2015, my cousin committed suicide, and I hear this a really similar story when I share it. I know a lot of people have similar stories.
Yeah.
And what happened for me was I really noticed, it made me like, holy shit, that could be me. Because he struggled so bad with depression and anxiety, and I was too. I was extremely depressed and had severe anxiety. And, you know, I was running like a hamster on a wheel trying to just survive with 3 children. One has, you know, I have a high needs child that's on the spectrum, which also creates high needs within all 3 children. So there was that in an unbalanced partnership, and there was just so much going on. It was a world of chaos. And so I knew that I could go down that road if I didn't get an immediate handle on my mental health. And I was on medication, I was on everything, but I was kind of like numbing it, but wasn't healing it. I'm like, this isn't okay. I don't want to live in this zombie state either. And so I started with Louise Hay stuff. I really dove into her work. I started seeing an energy healer that is here locally, a really good friend of mine and teacher who's been with me through everything. And at the time, I was even like, I was kind of, you know, maybe, I don't know, scared of it isn't the right word because I was always interested, but there was just a lot that I was like really closed off kind of. And she just helped me just by getting to know me and working with me. And then, wow, I'm like, I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to do this kind of work too. And yeah, here I am.
Right on. So how did that first come in through the meditation? I just like to hear how different people get it. Did you hear like a voice, or was it just a knowing? Like the message that you're going to be bringing people.
I get voices and knowing. I think I can't remember what it was at that time. I think it was kind of just a voice probably in my head, like a voice telling me that you're going to be, you know, you're meant to show people this road, this journey to enlightenment, this path to enlightenment. Yeah. And my mental brain got in there, like, what does that mean? I'm not going to be standing at the front of you know, standing at the front of all the pews lined up, you know, I just
given communion wafers and
like preaching the word and yeah. So there was just a lot that I needed to discover around my own spirituality and all of that. And so then 5 years ago, when I really started realizing, okay, I need to get a good grasp on my mental health, and then I started to really dive into it more and really become interested and intrigued and go, okay, there's something more here for me. And so then in 2017, I took my Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner. And that was to me like the gateway, the tool, the basis, the underlying, it really advanced me forward at that time because I really started to feel that energetic connection and the interconnectedness of all that is, and understand the importance of my value in that. And
yeah, I think Reiki's done that for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and it's like it helps them get in the door, you know, because it's one thing to have like externalized episodes and anything seems to be external, and you're like going, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not like that, or I do know this. I mean, I'm aware of this stuff, but I don't know how to use it. And I think a lot of people come through the door with Reiki, and also when they awaken, like in your case, sometimes the universe brings certain faces to the person. Have you had any type of escorts to the party, like galactics or angelics or other divine essences?
I have, yeah. I don't always know who or what, but I mean, it's vast through the different realms, like fairy or the elementals, dragon. There's been intergalactic stuff as well, and past ancestors. So my ancestral, like my personal ancestral lineage, and also other lifetimes I've lived that aren't like bloodline, but are my ancestral lineage. So I do receive a lot of information that way, and it doesn't have a specific way to come through. Sometimes it's a taste in my mouth, a smell that I can smell, a sound. I've actually seen my grandparents visualize and heard my grandparents' voices. So there's that sort of thing, and then there's also just visual, a visual or a feeling. Like it comes in a variety of ways.
Yeah. So you're like multi-dimensionally Claire.
Yeah. And what is kind of fascinating about that, because when I was diving into my my gifts, I'm like, okay, I know I have them. What are they? And I was thinking that, okay, if I say I'm clairvoyant, it has to be, that's all so I didn't limit it that way. I started to realize and understand, okay, like when I can smell people's energy. Like it sounds funny to say that, but it's true. So when I'm going to meet someone, not always, it comes through.
If I come meet you, you're going to start sniffing me?
Yeah, maybe. I'll probably smell you before you get here. Maybe I can already, that's what is kind of neat. And just to trust that it comes in, and that's really strongly, like, I was thinking about our interview. What am I going to talk about? What is going to come up, and all of these things. And I had a dream last week. Well, no, not a dream. I was woken in the middle of the night and said, sit up, you need to start writing. So, okay. I'm like, it was like 10 to 1 in the morning. And I stood up and I just, because, and what am I going to do? Am I going to share light language? Am I going to share my drumming? Am I going to share the ability that I have to scry? What am I meant to talk about and share with Todd? Like, this is an awesome opportunity. And I sat up because I was anxious about all of this. What am I going to bring across, and what needs to come out? What's the right thing? And the messaging that came through was, you need to share, to listen to the messages, subtle and otherwise. Oh, okay. So then I always thought that it had to be this big thing. And once I knew what my gift was, that's how I was going to see energy. That's how I was going to see it, all the messages. So if I was an angel communicator, that's how I'm always going to receive my messages, is maybe through that. But that's not how I operate at all. I operate on a vast, I don't know.
You're versatile. I mean, you said it earlier. You, I guess, made a decision, a choice not to limit yourself in any way.
Yeah.
So you're like the multi-linguistic dimensional operator.
So, and it's subtle. It's not always something that I know. A lot of the intuition that comes through for me is just through voice, and knowing that that's an intuitive tool as well. I'll be sharing a conversation with somebody, and randomly I'll have a thought, and I'll just say something, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that's what my grandmother always said to me." And I'm like, okay, or it comes in a dream, or it comes in a variety of ways. And I love that. I love being open to just receiving. And, if an energy comes in, and I'll sometimes ask, is this an unconditionally loving energy for my greatest and highest good? Because sometimes I'm like, I'm seeing something, I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't necessarily know even what it is, but as long as I get a yes there, then I'm like, okay, welcome. Come on in. Let's talk. Yeah.
Has that changed since you started doing this? I mean, like, was there more that you turned away than there is today? I mean, or was it always just minimal?
I think I was always just kind of scared in a way. Like, I don't really, so I would shut off I think I was closed off. And so the more that I open, I just trust like that feeling of needing to do that isn't there so
Yeah.
much. It's just like, okay,
Which
that's what that,
is, yeah, which is more opening, really. I
yeah.
mean, it's, yeah. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I know we've had individually and together, certainly together in the last year and a half. There's been a dozen times that very unattractive, otherworldly stuff comes in, but it's always been the same drill, basically. I mean, we understood we have the right to say, hey, this doesn't resonate, but we always just, seem in the evolution of our connection, we just open our heart. And it seems to,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe at certain times, people aren't ready for certain things. Like
Yeah.
I know about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was really pushing them, because Morgan closes her eyes when we connect, and I like to keep mine open because I like to see stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Come on!" I could feel it. I'm kind of like that. I can feel and sense, but I don't always. And I do see sometimes. Anyway, and I said to him, show me yourself. I mean, let's get down to business, man. And they're like, no, I don't think you want that. I don't think
Yeah.
you're ready for that yet. And then about 2 weeks later, some of them popped in. It felt like the same, and they were, they were obviously not from this, probably not even from this universe. But yeah, I think all of this is being piecemealed, including the physical embodiment part, including like what's being introduced to the world. Uh, too much too soon, we'd fry.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I've done that too. Like, show me, like,
Mm.
present. Then I want to see. I want to see it all. And basically, I was told if we did that, you'd probably explode.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I just, okay, I'm not going to question that anymore. I know and trust it in all of it, and I'm just going to allow,
yeah,
and however that looks, and what I'm meant to be shown, I will, and just really, because I would seek, like, you know, okay, I want to know this and this and this about that, or show me when I'm going to meet somebody, what I'm going to do with my business, like all of these things, seeking kind of outside of myself. But when it boils down to it, I have all my needs are met.
yeah,
I'm, you know, I have so much to be grateful for. And so when I find myself questioning or looking, seeking, I just pull back into the physical and put my feet in the grass and just
yeah,
look around. What do I have? What I don't need anything else. I
yeah,
have everything that I need in my life right now, and I'm so blessed. I have healthy children. I'm healthy. We have a home, a garden, like all the things that all that I need. And so
yeah.
I don't need to always know. And that's kind of what
Mhm.
I feel like that's how I'm meant to be. I look at I follow lots of people, and lots of people that you interview, and I love the work that everybody does. And sometimes I'll catch myself comparing, like, well, if I'm not channeling, doing this, maybe I'm not, there. But I've just been shown, like, no, you're right where you need to be. and
Yeah,
and so I just feel like almost in every moment, I just show up
yeah.
and go, okay.
And I think we're being pushed that way gently.
Yeah.
Like it's because okay, so it's one thing to know, like we all have that clear, you just know, right?
Yeah.
Like so many, like you, and like so many people, making lifestyle changes or moves, or you know what I mean, or decisions that totally flip their life around. They're following this guidance, this knowing. But then there's that I gotta know thing. And I think that one's been up this year among many things with our teams because they're like, no, you don't need to know anything. In fact, let us show you this way. And they send like at warp speed, like, a zillion bytes of data and light code that's like bigger than anything you've ever seen in say a week. And then they hit you with it like in 10 seconds and instant,
Oh,
you know. So you just throw up your hands and say, I don't need to know. It'll
yeah.
be there when I need it.
Yes.
That's really, and that's what you're saying too. And I think that's another thing we're being led to is to let go of I gotta know and what's gonna happen. and not to pick on you, but like, when am I going to find my partner, or when, like the questions you were asking, those are very legitimate, but I think
Yeah.
they're being taken in a nice way, being removed with,
I I
yeah,
had a funny experience with spirit last week because I'm a conscious co-creator. I know that I'm an amazing manifester. When I see something, when I want something, I have manifested miracles in my life. And so last week I had just a everyday experience. I was out in my yard. I was like, I would really love a garden over here. I'm going to go ask my neighbor and see what he thinks, because they have an amazing garden, if this would be a good spot. Well, that night his son comes over, they clear the spot with their tractor and everything, and the next day they came and tilled it, and I had a garden. It was like, boom, you want that, you got it,
wow.
So it's just reflecting on that, going, hell yeah, like I know that I can manifest everything. We are all amazing creators. And so I kind of, was having a little giggle with, I say spirit, but that's universe, God,
Yeah.
whatever anybody's terms are. I can manifest everything except for, my soulmate, that he hasn't arrived yet, or she, or, however that's going to look. And, I got this laughing answer, but you also are asking to be happy. And I'm like, okay. So I laughed because it's my sense of humor. Like, do you want that, or do you want to be happy? Okay, well, I want to be happy. But so I reflected on that, because I know it was like said in a joking mannerism, and like, well, what does that mean? Am I meant to be alone? And maybe so. I'm really happy this way, so that's great.
That's usually when it comes, by the way, based on the experience of the people I've talked to. It's like, when they clear it out and say, I'm done, I'm good with this, and then that's when it happens. But
Well,
then, but I love the thing too about the humor too, because I get a lot of that. I've always
yeah,
gotten a lot of that. And
yeah.
there's a lot of wisdom in that humor frequency. When you can,
What?
because, I guess at some level you're having a conversation with yourself, but when you can laugh at yourself and laugh at everything, it kind of
Yeah,
puts you in that space of, like what you said earlier, about just putting your feet in the grass and just not thinking, I don't need to know, you know. I think we're
exactly. I don't
I think
need
I
to
think
know.
we're doing a good job, all of us, with that.
We're doing an amazing job. I always say it's a great time to be alive. It's a great life. We're doing a fantastic job.
So now, in your daily communication, or your constant communication with the infinite, with the source, or your team, or whatever, do they moved you, or you came into the realization that you're going to you're going to lead people to down the path?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What was it? You go ahead. I have more to share, but do you have a
No,
question?
keep going. That's it. That's it. Go. Keep going.
Yeah. So after my cousin's death,
Mm.
I was having a shower one day, and I just heard really clearly, "You are a healer," and I was like, oh, "Okay, I don't know what that means." Not that I don't know what that means, because like I said, I was getting energy sessions done, and all of that, and so I was like, okay, what does that mean? So I took like my Reiki training and everything, and it was, so I think my cousin's death was in 2015. I bought a small building that I created my business. I've been an esthetician for 18 years, or I was, no longer. I've retired from that job. So I renovated it, created a spa business in there, and I was manufacturing my own products, my own skincare products. So, and I'm busy mom, this life of chaos. And then I learned in 2017 how to do Reiki. And then I started diving way more into my spirituality, and I started going to retreats and taking one-on-one mentorships. And my first retreat, there was that I'd gone to a spiritual retreat. I'd never even been to one before and didn't know what to expect or anything. I walked in and I was like, there's more people like me. Like, because in my reality that I had created at that time, I couldn't really connect, you know, when I started talking about Reiki energy and or just energy in general and having visions and things like that, people would just glaze over like,
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
yeah, I know
Everybody
everybody's on
like,
the
yeah,
same page
okay.
here. So I had met my people, like my family. I was just like,
Mm,
woo, like this is a party.
yeah.
And it was, I mean, I don't mean really a party, but energetically, my soul was like, woo, like finally you got together with your soul family. And so the way that it happened for me after that, so it was a dive into self. There was a lot of self-worth and self-love that I wasn't honoring, I wasn't experiencing. I thought something was wrong with me. I'm broken, I'm effed up, I'm, you know, this is messed up. You're not going to believe the, you know, like that mentality. And I hear that so much now. Like people say to me in my circle, like, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, oh, believe me, I am. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it. I trust it. I know it. So at that time though, I didn't have, you know, so I met this amazing group of other people like me. And I was like, oh my goodness. So in diving more into myself and what felt really good for my soul, I had an unraveling of all of my relationships and things that didn't align with that anymore. And so it caused, you know, my marriage to fall away and my business as well. I went, you know, I had this spa business and this, you know, my identity, this is who I am and this is what I do. But suddenly it wasn't, I'm like, oh, I'm not living for me in this. I'm people pleasing. I'm doing what everybody else wants from me. I had 4 practitioners working with me. And just, you know, it was fantastic, a busy place, but my heart wasn't there anymore. And so, yeah, I went through a divorce and a complete overhaul in my business. And so I'm going to jump around here in the timelines. At the end of my first retreat, or maybe it was the second retreat, because I wanted to just keep going because I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I have this building that has, I renovated I'm going on a Todd in 20 minutes. Sorry. So I renovated this, speaking of jumping around on the timelines, I renovated this business and the front portion of it. There was still 600 or 700 square feet in the back that was like, I'm going to do this for my product making warehouse. And this is where I'm going to create my product. But I never had the money. I never had the time. I never had, you know, whatever, all the things. So at the end of I think it was the second retreat I'd gone to, I was like, I need to bring this stuff to my community. I need to find a way to bring practitioners, healers, meditation, Qigong, like whatever, anything, any modality. I need to create a space to bring this to this little community so that other people can experience what I am. And
so let me just interrupt you for a second, because I just want to reiterate, or have you reiterate. So you're in a town of 1,200 people.
yeah.
1,200 people. Then you actually found people in that town that are like same tribe, right? Where the retreats and stuff, is that a different place?
It was at a different place,
Okay.
2.5 hours away from me.
Okay. So you were in a town of 1,200 people and you're like Bewitched. You're like Samantha on Bewitched. I mean, do they look at you funny? Do they? Or do you stand out? Do you stick out in the community? Because you sound like you're pretty visible, you know, with your business and all that.
Yeah, well, in a town of 1,200 people, it's like spotlight zoomed in on this person because, oh, she's going through a divorce. Oh, she's changing her business. What the hell is she doing now?
She's levitating, enchanting.
Look at her. She's walking on water. Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. So you renovated the back. You had it all planned out. Now, are you just mainlining this as it's coming in? You're just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm like speaking it into existence, basically.
Yep, it happened exactly that way. I'm not exaggerating. I came home from that retreat, and so I needed a new roof on my building. I needed tons of work. It needed a lot of work, a lot of renovation. So I had just done the bare minimum to get me going in the spa business. But as soon as I said that I want to have this healing center, I was out for lunch with my friend, the one that had been helping me through all of my transitional stuff that I'd gone to for many, many energy sessions, my beautiful dear friend Myrna. Anyway, I was out for lunch with her, and I said to her, yep, I want to do this. I want to have a place where I can have practitioners and a space where we can meditate or gather to have, whatever. And I said, the first thing that needs to happen is the roof needs to get done, because I needed a new, like, all the shingles, like it all needed to be redone. Literally within that it felt like instantaneously, but a few minutes later, a guy came up to me that I knew. And he's like, "Oh, Lori, I didn't realize that was you standing there or sitting there having lunch." And oh yeah, hey, how's it going? He said, I have the guys in town to do, because he was a contractor that had quoted me 2 years prior on my roof, and I couldn't afford it.
And he just walked in the door.
Comes up to me at lunch and says, "If you need it done, it can happen this week." The guys are, and I'm like, "Yep." And then I was like, holy shit, I don't know how I'm going to afford it. I can't, then it happened, but I'd already said yes. And my friend that was with me, she was just like, you just said it. It didn't even, and
wow.
Boom, within a week I had a new roof on my building. And then, so that was in April of 2017, I think, or May. And then by September, so then once the roof was done, it was like, there's no excuses here anymore. Now you can renovate the back space, because I was using that, I can't renovate the back because I don't want, if water gets in there or anything. So anyways, divine alignment, this guy's a contractor, and we just were able to work together and budget and all this stuff, and did it in a couple of stages. But by September, it was mostly done, and we were meditating in there by September. Wow. I was meditating by myself in there in September. It was great.
So are you building up some interest in that 1,200 strong community? Are people coming over and dipping their toe in the water?
Yeah, absolutely. So I still get a lot of this, what's going on? I'm not into that. That's, not for me. And that's totally fine. But what actually happened was there was a lot of people waiting for an opportunity to have something like this, because where we're located, the nearest bigger center is almost an hour away, and then the big city, a bigger city, is 2.5 hours away. So to have a lot of this stuff, there's tons of healing centers and meditation spaces and all of that in bigger centers, but it's still kind of, I feel like we're just a little bit
horse and buggy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, exactly. And so
that's actually a beautiful thing. I'm just trying to picture, because I know where that is geographically, and it's, like you said, it's kind of isolated. It's remote. It's beautiful, but I can't imagine 1,200 people in a town. Talk about a small neighborhood.
Yeah. So it's what's happened is I've been able to create this beautiful community, and we also have interest from other communities nearby. So there's a few different people that come from other communities, and that's really fantastic. And right now, with not being able to gather, I've moved everything online, the gatherings that we have. So that's been beautiful too. Yeah.
So how's it feel to be retired from the matrix and actually carving out a living in synchronicity and flow with what you love doing? Thank you for laying the grid work down. Yes. Every time one of you do that, it makes it easier for the rest of us. It really does.
And honestly, when I work with anyone, when I talk to anyone, they'll be like, this is happening at my job, or I have this pain in my neck or whatever. And I'm like, that's because you're not living what you need to live. You need to live from your heart. And if your heart's not in that, you're going to continue to be shown that you need to follow what your heart wants. And so then they'll be like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, well, let's explore it. Let's figure it out. I'm
sure you'll be hearing from the local medical establishment besides the teetotalers. Yeah, that's crazy. So have you had like any experiences? I mean, it sounds like you've been fast tracking since 2015, like just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Have you had any, have you had any just, like divine episodes or anything that, apparitions, paranormal, anything, just you just kind of went, like, what is that? Like, I don't even know, but it's where the physical and the non-physical kind of mix.
Yeah. I've seen, well, I guess in visions and things like that. Yeah. And also the synchronicities of things are
Yeah.
always like,
Yeah,
I,
that's
I
huge.
see some good friends, the people in my circle. I'm like, I hope that never gets old, the synchronicities and how mind blowing it is. And you're just like, yes, that's
And
amazing.
haven't they increased too?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like this year, they're just like it's almost stupid. It's happening. Looks like everywhere you go, and it's way beyond the numbers. It's a bird. It's a
2020
right.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
So in 20, I mean, I've seen some extraterrestrial stuff, but that was kind of like, what am I seeing?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm just going to trust that. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm safe. Yep. So, but it's because we have a logical mind that goes, no,
Yeah.
you're not in that.
Well, I mean,
Or
it's good. It's good to hear these stories because there's a lot of people that are, and you would know this because you're a healer. I mean, you work with people. You're a healer, energy practitioner, but there's a lot of people waking up.
yeah.
And, I know Morgan had a session a few days ago, and the lady was, I believe she was in her 80s or
Yeah.
80 years old. And she said, I've been looking for this for 20 or 30 years or something like that. I want to get this done before I transition. And I've heard
Wow.
other stories like that. But
Yeah.
it's good to hear it because, the experience itself carries so much code, like, the doubting, the fearing, the directions you get that make no sense at all, and you're like, okay, I guess I got to do this because you really don't even have a choice.
Yeah.
How is that for you now? Do you go into doubt much? Do you go into fear much? Do you ever get triggered? Anything like
Well,
that?
yeah. I get triggered.
Yeah, okay. I like to set people
Um,
up on that one. No, I'm kidding, but
I am still human.
that's
Um,
right.
and
What do you
that's
do?
what
What do you do? What do you do when you get triggered? What's your personal way of getting back to alignment?
well, 2020 has been some pretty fascinating because I really honor my time, my energy, staying like in solitude, not always in solitude, but I spend a lot of time alone because that's where I get clarity and insights and can sit with what resonates and what doesn't. And my life is aligned in a way that I have my children 50% of the time. So 50%, about 50% of the time I'm in that space of meditation and flow and honoring what feels good and what
Yeah,
doesn't. And
yeah,
so I've been shown pretty clearly. So some triggers were still happening because I'm like, well, I've done all this work. Like, what's going on? And so what I do, I identify like what is it that's bugging me? What is it I see in that person that I don't like, or that's pissing me off? And I identify what that is, and where's the first time I ever felt that in my life?
mm,
That feeling of
yeah.
inadequacy, or I see vulnerability, or whatever.
Whatever it is coming up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's the same thing Morgan talks about.
yeah,
Talks
I've
to,
talked to her a little bit because I think
oh, have you?
a
Have you?
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because she says like, okay, so when did that first happen to me? Like, as a small child, infant, 2, 3, and then she says there's this next one, where is the first time you do it to yourself. So this is usually like a teenager, and like the
Mm-hmm.
first time they actually sabotage themselves, or it's usually out of defiance or rebellion or whatever. And then the next one is, when is the last time someone did it to me, right? So you like merge all three of those. So it's interesting how these
Yeah.
things are all linked. And the other thing that's really interesting too, which I can tell with you, and you've picked up on it since you started this in 2015, is that how easy it is to clear. Not like
Yeah.
not I don't mean easy, simple.
Yeah.
because it's not simple to want to go dive in head first into the concrete of fear. You
I
know what I mean?
always tell people that the hardest part is that first step. You
Yeah,
know, looking into that. There's this dark aspect that's coming up that I don't like. It doesn't feel
yeah,
good. Well, the hardest, because then we skirt around it. We do everything in our power to suppress that feeling. That's what I was doing, and until I wasn't. I did a lot of work through mentorship program, and that really brought in the shadow work,
yeah,
and I really enjoyed that because it was like, oh my goodness. And then it did become so simple when all I need to do is, because I would, for me, like with anger and things like that, that were coming up a lot for me, and then guilt and shame and whatever.
yeah,
Um, I would just try to I love myself, try to love myself anyways, or that's just, kind of like that, but it still um, wasn't resolving it. So, or maybe it was to an extent, but fully needed to go into it. When's the first time, those
yeah,
steps, really looking at it. And so acknowledging it and understanding that it's a part of me,
yeah.
accepting it as a part of me, but not letting it define who I am and how I
Exactly,
respond. It's a part
exactly.
of me, but I'm not going to let this define how I react to the words that Todd says, or that so-and-so says, or that whatever, experience I'm having. Um,
What are you picking on me for? No, that's a great point.
because I'm talking to you directly.
Yeah, but that's really a great point, because so we can't divorce ourselves from anything, right? I mean, everything is everything, all aspects of dark and light. But there is a little bit of a trick to, okay, as that victim or as that victimizer, I am not that person. I am not that person. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be the real person I am. But the problem is you can't be that person unless you claim that back and love
And
that as much as you do everything else, which is weird because,
exactly.
yeah. And then the other thing, let me ask you about this one, because this to me is very intriguing. It's the dynamics, right? And the nuances of unconsciousness. So I always say to myself, because I can't really see it in myself, I can see it in retrospect. Oh, I was not conscious. Oh, there was a part of me that knew what was going on, kind of like, closing your eyes and putting your hand out and taking a bribe, that kind of energy. But when I look at other people, I go, I wonder if they're conscious of that, you know? And and I guess,
Oh, you're breaking up there.
oh, is it me or you? Are you good?
I don't know.
Are you alive? Are you there?
Yeah, I think just the last sentence or two I missed.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is, do you see, when you work with people, does that ever come up? Like, how do I get in touch and become aware of the things that I'm unconscious of?
I think, we're experiencing that in almost every interaction we have.
Hmm.
It's an opportunity to see areas that we are not fully conscious. For me to,
But how do we find that? I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, how, if I can't, like, so there's a lot of people out there that are very dedicated, just like you're talking about, even in your own field. Like, where is it? Where's the fear? Where's the shadow? How do I find it? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like there are people that are, do you think like maybe the intention itself is an energy that kind of opens that door and it's handed to you, asking you to receive, that kind of thing?
I think once you're willing to accept, you'll start being shown and guided. You start seeing more because you're open to seeing it.
Yeah.
So then, for me, I was catapulted. Once I started doing that work, I was catapulted into a lot of series of sequences of events to really show me all the things that were, or to kind of like
It's
bring
called
them up.
multiple trauma syndrome. Pre-awakening
Yeah.
initiation.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then
Very true.
once you're willing to go in there, it's like they're like, they all want to be heard and seen and shown. And so it's like, okay, well, I have more work to do. And so when things come up, I was kind of judging myself that, am I not as spiritual if I am being triggered still, or, if I'm not as awakened. But I don't think that that's the truth. I think honoring that part of me fully and integrating it, because you can't have one without the other. There's a balance. You can't have, vulnerability without warrior strength, and so that really, that bringing that understanding those into balance. Okay, if I know that I have anger and calm, and I'm somewhere in between, but if I can keep in that in between state as I proceed, and yes, I am experiencing this anger, I'm I am sensing, or I'm feeling it. If I can step back, take a few breaths and calm and move forward and proceed, because when you understand you have both, when you can bring them into balance, that means not one, like when I was trying to suppress, it really wanted to be seen and heard. Yeah. And then it was way out of balance. That's way out of balance. And so we're
it's like taking the kids. I help raise 6 kids. So you take a kid to a toy store or any store. It doesn't matter what kind of store it is. They're going to find something. And so if they don't get what they want, then it starts with a begging, or then it gets to a tantrum. And that's the same type of energy of these things that we suppress. I find it so fascinating that everyone that I'm talking to, as time has gone on, is really come to the understanding that it's all about me. I need to work on my stuff. I may not be very good at it, and I may not be there yet, but I realize it's not them, it's me. And and what's so interesting to me is that what seems to be bringing the biggest elevations, to include visitations, to include any kind of dimensional experience we might have had, is coming from this seemingly mundane task of revealing the layers of our human condition, which is, on one hand, it looks like this big burden. I don't want to do it, because we're typically don't want to do it, but then when we do it, it's like, it's phenomenal. It's just like, and it's very supported right now with the energies, to the level the energies have come.
Coming into 2020, I was kind of like, where am I going? What's happening here? I just feel like I have, I'm not sure what's happening next. What's the next step? And so I took some time in Arizona. I went to my parents' home there, and I meditated a lot, and I was really connecting with dragon energy. And I was going, okay, what is this? What does dragon energy look like to me? What does it mean to me? And what I felt, and it's that pure unconditional love. And they may come through in anger, like, seemingly fierce, or they can be like the docile. So it just embodied the whole experience of unconditional love for me. And so once I kind of tuned into that, I was really looking at that energy and just what it meant for me. Around that same time, so then it started triggering, or not triggering, I started getting strong visions of what I wanted to do moving into 2020. And I'm feeling inspired. So once I started to welcome that energy through me, I was shown that that I did receive like a chakra upgrade, basically a download.
This was from Dragon. This is from Dragon Energy.
Yeah, well, kind of more. It was around that same time, so this was more like an unconditional love, because there's a lot of things tied into unconditional love frequency, I think. So that was that,
including the dragon energy that comes in and says, "Hey, we're getting to work now. We're not taking any BS."
Yeah,
and it is, and I agree with you. It is probably, other than say like a mother goddess essence, but the dragon energy is like the most incredible love energy I've ever felt. But they're also the toughest.
yeah. But that's part of unconditional love,
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
So then I used to make, so I received this download into my chakra system, and I was like, I was like vibrating for a few days, I was like meditate. So I had to like meditate and ground. And so what I noticed happening then, my grounding method that I was always using before, I would always connect with the divine, then I would envision pulling Mother Earth energy up into me, so that creating this combined energy within me. But I started being shown to channel that energy through my body and like push it down into Mother Earth. It was like a different way of grounding and connecting. So that kind of happened. And then I was shown this collapse of all of my, not collapse, like this merge of all of my chakra systems and like a realignment. And it was almost like they merged into different centers. So now when I see them, and I mean, I still do chakra work on all of them. I'm not saying that that's changed for people, but for me, the way that I interpret it is I see 3 chakra points now, crown, like the above the heart and below. So mind, body, and heart, you know, or above.
There's a lot of that trinity and triad energy showing up in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
That seems to be the accelerator for this. And we're like, I mean, we're just made up of a bunch of pyramids and triangles, the way I see it. Like, you know, there's all these things. So you have like the 0 point and you have the polarities, and then there's always this other thing out there, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always this third thing out there that's kind of like hanging out in the middle, and you kind of like got to pull them all together. Kind of like victimizer, martyr, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's interesting. I don't want to run out of time.
Okay.
And I want to make sure, and you're beautiful, you're beloved, you're brilliant, and I'd love to collaborate with you later in the year if you want to do it.
Yes, anytime. I'd love to come on again.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to just offer you an opportunity to do whatever you'd like to do. Okay, if you want to do light language, you want to do a blessing, you want to talk about something, you want to expand awareness of the things that you're doing locally and or online, and how people can get in touch with you, and you know, anything, whatever. The floor is yours.
Okay. You can get in touch with me on my business page, is Live Pure with Lori, and I post on there all the time. Just everything that I'm experiencing kind of comes through there too. So I do a lot of intuitive writing and that sort of thing. So I'll share that on there. And I have a group on Monday evenings that it's a private Zoom group, and I call it the Sacred Community Connection. And that's where we just explore different topics. And so after I received that chakra download sort of thing, we explored the chakra system. So it was like, so what happens within me ripples into the people, you know, my groups and things like that. So we did a chakra. So we did 7 weeks journeying through it ended up being 9 weeks journeying through the chakra system. So we pick a topic, whatever it may be, and it may be intuitive, developing intuitively, or it may be just learning about something that one of us has brought up or whatever. So it's a nice place to explore just with like-minded people. And I really enjoy that space, that sacred community. And then on Friday mornings, I guide a meditation class every Friday morning. It's in a Facebook Live, or it's like a Facebook private group, and I just do a live. And it could be in Zoom too. I just don't do that in Zoom right now. So if anybody wants to join for any of that stuff, you can find all the information on Live Pure with Lori. I make products, so skin, like, you know, lotions and that sort of thing. So back to my story about coming into 2020, what am I going to do? I stopped making products about 2 years ago, but in that upgrade that that I feel is an upgrade, I was shown to bring the past back into and new technology that I have, new information that I have, the new energy, and to bring it into life again. But there's still some, I still need to work with that. So what's happened for me is I've been shown a way, and I do it every step of the making with the products now, infusing that unconditional love frequency, that energy. When I order my raw materials, when I get into creative flow, when I write about it, when I write the product write up, when I post a picture online, I'm doing that all in that unconditional love frequency. Yeah. I get into that zone and then create from there. And the intention is that product will then ripple, when the end user uses that and puts that on their body.
That stuff works. It's an infusion. It's like an infusion.
It carries that energy. And so this is just like, I have some products and stuff that I make now that are like topical applications, body butters and that sort of thing. And in that too, I've been shown that it's time, because I work with a lot of crystal energy, crystal healing, and I know that water and things like that can hold the energy, the vibration from that. And so I'm going to be launching a crystal infusion line where they're infused with the crystal energy as well. So I'm really
Man,
excited.
you are in a full court press. You are busy.
I got some things going on.
No wonder your partner hasn't showed up yet. They're waiting for you to get.
Not the time.
You wouldn't have time anyway. Well,
yeah, probably not.
I'm kidding with you. I'm just joking around with you.
True.
And so up there, I know it's kind of flat up there, but isn't that the elder areas, Sasquatch?
Yeah.
And since you mentioned elementals, you seem to have a pretty good connection with elementals. Have you had any? A lot of people have reported telepathic communication with Sasquatch, the elders, over the last couple of years.
I haven't, but there's a valley, like a valley that kind of runs through this area of the province, and there's been sightings in that area. Like people have seen Sasquatch. I haven't. I kind of keep asking, but I haven't been shown yet. But I'm open to it. I
just have the feeling you will.
Yeah, maybe like vibrating, talking about it, so it's probably true.
Yeah, fairies, elves, Sasquatch, nature beings. I would imagine they're really thick over there, and star family, really.
Yeah. I really love that, because like the elemental aspects, because I can really experience that and explore that with my kids. They're just like, my daughter is they all are, all three of them, but they're that energy, the elemental energy, and so we get to explore, and it's just, I get to really, my childhood, the way I was, the way that I loved working with stone and that sort of thing as a little girl. I'm doing that through my children and my work now too.
How old are your kids?
They're 12, 9, and 6.
Oh, that's a whole nother show right there.
Yep.
They must show you a lot. They must show you a whole bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Are any of them saying anything or doing anything that kind of makes you take a step and go, whoa? Like there's a lot of people or kids coming forward that are having conversations with Star Family, that are having very strong memories, telepathy. Have any of your kids shown anything like that?
Yeah, they're all sensitive. There's been things, how I said I jolted awake in the middle of the night and had to start writing. I'll have visitations. Sometimes I'm awoken in the night and energy wants to talk to me or whatever. And so I've noticed with the kids at different stages, different times, but I'll wake up and get that message. And then my son will come upstairs and be like, Mom, I had a dream. I need to, like, okay, crawl in. Because they, so they're sensitive and they know what I do, and they talk to me about it. My daughter, she's a Reiki master. Like she just knows, she gets it. Like she never, I do Reiki with them, and I do. She's like, Mom, if my friend fell and hurt their knee, I give them Reiki, and I'm like, I know you do, baby.
Wow.
She gets it, and all of my kids do that actually, wow. And they.
See, I think this is the wild card in the whole, trying to figure it out thing, is these kids. Like we don't even see it, but like they're coming so strong and so fast, and they're so clean, really. Yeah. Like I know we can worry about them, but I think the way things are flowing now, they're going to be leading the show here very shortly, and I don't think age is going to have anything to do with it.
I think you're right. I think, most of the time, or a lot of times, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I want, to raise them in this way and do have them have some of the things that I know now, so that they don't, diminish their gifts young, that they don't forget, that they don't have to experience that. And so I honor it as much as I can, but there's still the human mother aspect of me that's pretty sure I messed it all up.
Yeah, that label and that program. Some of these labels and programs are very difficult, and there's probably not a stronger one than mother child. You know,
Yeah.
that's probably the
Yeah.
strongest one there is. And I would even go so far to say it's mother daughter, because
Yeah.
that seems to be, like two feminine energies, the mother and the daughter. And there's just, I don't know, there's something very special and very mysterious about that
There is a
connection.
lot of there's lots of energy and healing for me over the last year and a half around the feminine energy, the mother daughter, and then nurturing myself in that way, and even my daughter, like the healing of all of the wounds that are kind of there.
Yes.
And I think it's because we're so strongly attached. I mean, my mother
Have
has been with me since conception, so
have
like
you
it's that.
have you noticed when you do inner work and you move to a higher alignment, become more whole, however you want to put it, do you notice any difference in your children as a result?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I definitely notice a shift in the relationships, that I have in
Yeah.
general when and with my kids too, because I've had to do a lot of work. I had some trauma around my oldest son's birth and everything. I experienced trauma in the delivery room and all of that. And so it was causing some conflict with us. It was like this continual sort of battle. We were having a lot of friction. And so I did the healing. I did a lot of healing work around that. And also the concept, my mentor at the time, we talked about just sending my child unconditional love because that's essentially, I do, I love him, and that they choose us. And in
Yeah.
that moment of like that awareness, because that I feel this guilt and shame of certain things, I was feeling that. But
Mm.
in that awareness, like if he chose me, everything leading up to this point is divinely led and guided.
Absolutely.
And how amazing is that? And I just thanked him. I'm like, if you chose me, or like, if that's how that
Yeah.
works, thank
Yeah.
you. I'm so blessed and honored to be your mom. And it does shift the relationship.
Yeah.
It has shifted it a lot. Me doing any work with my mom, with my dad, with my sisters, I'm not going to them saying, hey, I'm doing this work. I'm doing it all here.
Yeah, you're doing it for yourself, and I think a lot of people have talked about the impact that it has on generations forward, generations backward, particularly your kids.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's it, that's a whole show. These
it
kids
is.
and your kids. I mean, that's got to be a huge part of this transition for you. It has to be just enormous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so very cool. Yeah, I'd love to collaborate again later in the year. We're going to
Me
be
too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd encourage you to put up your links on Facebook on my page. That's where most people go, and then YouTube, because the numbers on YouTube are starting to pass the main page. But yeah, your links and anything you want to just spread awareness about, or even in the Sology group, that's a great place to get the word out. There's probably, I don't know what the number is, but 20,000 pretty strong engaged every day.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing. It's incredible work that you're doing. So just thank you for all of that, and thank you for giving me the space to share. And
no,
I
you're a
probably
blast. You're an
I only
absolute
covered like
blast.
a portion of the things I
I
thought I
know
was going
that. That's why
to.
we'll have to just hang out every now and then and see what's going on. And yeah,
Yeah,
I know we did. This was the
yeah.
icebreaker. This was the icebreaker, but
So,
I absolutely appreciate it. And I just want to say too, all that work you're doing is obviously affecting the collective. So thanks for showing up, and thanks for listening and getting it done and leading the way. And you know, I'm totally supportive and encouraging uh, divine feminines like you to step up. It's time, and
yes.
frankly, you guys are leading the way. So don't
Well,
complain you're not making
known that
progress.
the feminine leads the feminine, and then the masculine can
That's
go
right.
away. and
That's right.
and
That's
just
just, that's how it works this go round. That's
yeah.
how it
And
works.
it's
And
not about being above. it's
no,
it's just it's
no,
kind of,
it's
we're
just the
co
way that. Yeah, I mean, how are you going to get a man when it's a patriarchal society in a position of power to go to the new divine feminine template and say, okay, this is how we run the world now.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. They're going to go kicking and screaming the whole time, and they're going to want their
Yeah.
toys and all that. But there's a lot of evidence that the masculine energy collectively and individually is making progress. It's because the feminine has blazed the trail, and I think right
Yeah.
now they're really starting to step up. So
I've
thank you for
noticed
that.
a shift in the masculine coming, like approaching, asking more questions, wanting to come to group and things like that. Definitely noticing that. And so welcome. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I can see it in the demographics and the different Soulology pages, how it's changed. And it's actually changed quite a bit this year. The numbers have gotten.
2020 has been huge for that.
Yeah. Well, you take care. All blessings to you and your beautiful children. And I wish you exciting times with these children and what you're going to be doing this year. I'm sure it's going to be full of, and I'm sure you're going to have a few surprises in terms of what you've been looking for. It'll happen. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You take care. Peace out.
Say hi to Mark for me. Bye.